Today, Laurie, one of my favourite bottlers, whiskey people, but still quite a relatively new brand. We've got the Thompson Bros independent bottling.
Yep.
It's a blended whiskey.
Love it.
So it's not a single cask, single malt, like every single independent bottler will release, just like these guys do. There's something a little bit different. It's almost like a core range product, but from an independent group. It is worth saying they also do have the distillery. Yeah. So they're not. It's not like they're just two little guys. They're Phil and Simon, the Thompson brothers, up in Dornoch, in Sutherland. So one of Scotland's smallest distilleries, and in my opinion, one of Scotland's greatest independent bottlers. Certainly for this kind of new age of independent bottlers.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with them?
Yeah. I've known Phil in particular for a few years. I know he's a big fan of sort of older style whiskey as well.
Yeah.
So his, and Simon as well, their priority is making a whiskey that's great.
Yeah.
But they also sort of like experimenting with sort of heritage barley strains and traditional ways of whiskey making.
And they're totally organic as well, the bottling and the distillery. Absolutely organic. Warehouse is organic. Cool. So something different. Again, very traditional values. They've got great access to liquid. I've got to say, I'm so impressed. Like, as a new bottler, for a long time, getting into the industry, if I wanted to drink something old from independent bottler, I was always going to G&M.
Yeah.
And that was also for value and for quality of spirit, but now it really has changed. Unfortunately, too many people have found out about these guys because it isn't the easiest to get your hands on some of the more special bottlings that they do, but always reasonably priced. They're most of the big whiskey fairs here in Scotland. And this was something that was really different. This one retails for less than £35.
Yep, it's a bargain.
It's called Thompson Bros Over 6. So we're not really meant to know what's in it. Non-disclosure agreements, we don't know exactly the liquid, but rumours around the whiskey industry would certainly say it's a very heavily sherried influence in this whiskey. Definitely Speyside forward as well. There's no peat whatsoever. It's really tasty. If I'm being completely transparent, it's the first whiskey we've tried together that I've personally consumed bottles of. Yeah. So this one's not new for me.
I've got a bottle of this open.
Yeah.
Like I know it's good, so we don't.
It's quite unusual for us, isn't it?
We can just talk about it. I think it's this bottling is. I'm sure we're allowed to say it's sort of widely accepted or considered to be. Obviously, it says 6 years old on the label because you can't state an age unless it's the youngest component. But it's widely accepted to be a vatting of 12-year-old Macallan and 6-year-old Edrington blended stock.
I think that's certainly the rumours amongst the industry, that there's a lot of 12-year-old, 12-year-old spirit of very, very high quality with that kind of blended product that's integrated into it. They were able to obviously procure it and produce it at such an affordable and welcoming price as well. So a lot of whiskey people will already know this whiskey because it's maybe been out for maybe 2 years now-ish. Yeah. I mean, it's been a core product for them for a while. But if you want something different on your back bar at home that's not extortionate, I don't think you can get a sherried whiskey or as influenced sherried whiskey for the price.
It's very exciting. I think it's very typical of independent bottlers in 2024 who obviously for many years have bought single casks of something, typically ex-Diageo stock, so something like a Manachmore or a Linkwood, typically 8 to 12 years old. Thought let's liven it up, let's put it in a wine cask for 6 months and then bottle it as a.
It really is just there doesn't seem to be much diversity available for these independent bottlers.
I feel like the market's becoming quite fatigued with those sorts of single cask things. And the beautiful thing about single casks is that they're all different, but that's also the downside as well. Is that each one, you're never 100% sure what you're getting.
And there could be some great whiskey, but I know, for example, that whiskey festival we attended, I remember just bumming in somebody, what's been your favourite whiskies today? And they said Blair Athol. And I love Blair Athol as a whiskey. And I said, which one? And they said, well, there was 4 different stands that they tried at Blair Athol at, because that's just what's available. It's what cask you can get. So it's nice to get something that's a bit different. Again, we're not really meant to know what it is. We're not 100% sure what it is, truth be told, but it's a story and a whiskey that's really captivated a whiskey drinking and a whiskey industry audience.
Yeah.
I think, and people have been fairly impressed by it. I know we've had it before, but I'm opening it for us.
Do it. I'm always
we might as well.
happy to revisit. The bottle I've got at home is, did I buy it during lockdown, I think? I know they had issues with...
Glass.
Glass,
have you got
yeah.
one of the stumpy
I've got one
ones?
of the stumpy ones.
Okay.
I don't know if it's... Well, it's not a collector's item anymore because it's open.
Yes, that was a kind of a
it's
smaller stained glass. Yeah. Same liquid, I believe.
Exactly the same liquids, but it's been around for a couple of years now, but it's great. And as you say, for £30-35 a bottle, it's very, very hard to find a whiskey with that level of complexity to it.
Yeah.
It's a great...
I think if you're not familiar with the guys, it's a good opportunity to try and see what they do. Dornoch, the distillery they have, has been going since 2016.
Right.
But it isn't actually easy to get your hands on. They're smaller bottles, it's artisanal. They've got a lot of people that already know about them, so it is hard to find.
Yeah, I think any new release they do, even their independent bottlings, they'll often do a ballot for it.
Yeah, which is fantastic for them. It's nothing they can do about being falling popular. A blended whiskey, 46%. Now, we don't know. This probably does have some form of chill filtration before it was blended.
I suppose we don't really know.
No, it's really know what
I find for, whether it's blends or blended malts, all you can really judge it on is what's in the glass.
Yeah. There's no point being super nitty about a bottle of whiskey that's this affordable but also this unique. You might, if you like it, you like it.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know, I feel like the word unique when describing whiskey, for me, I would save that for something that's totally
a one-off,
incomparable, totally, different to anything else. I feel like there are whiskies out there which are similar to this, but they're generally single malts from, Speyside distilleries.
I think for me,
but they're 80 quid a bottle.
Yeah, well, that's the difference for me. I think in my time working in the industry and drinking whiskey, I've never been able to get something in this price bracket with this character. Yeah. And it's only getting further apart, really. So,
are there any whiskies in your sort of whiskey journey where you've enjoyed a whiskey so much and it's been so dependable, as soon as the bottle's finished, you
immediately replaced it?
Has there been any?
There has been, but to be honest, I'm very easily influenced.
Okay.
I kind of follow people. My father drank lots of Tamdhu. So when he finished a bottle of Tamdhu 15, he immediately replaced it.
Right, okay.
I remember going through a phase of only really having one sherried whiskey in the house. It was a Glenallachie 15.
Yep.
And it was the only sherry whiskey that I had, so when I finished it, I just replaced it.
Sure.
But the only one that honestly I've done it with since then is this.
Yeah.
Because I say this is my bottle. This is the third bottle I've opened.
Yeah, it's great. I did it for a bit with old Highland Park 12.
Yeah.
The one with like the orange stripe. I think I bought 2 or 3 bottles of that.
Just so dependable, right?
And you think it's just whiskies are always 8 or 9 out of 10 every time. And I feel like this has sort of replaced that. Like, I know what I'm getting. It's always going to be good. It's, for somebody, if they're visiting and they kind of like whiskey but don't really know
100%.
whiskey, they'll enjoy it. But if it's also somebody who's a bit of a whiskey snob, they'll enjoy it.
It's a good conversation piece. You're not going to begrudge them. I think in a world where if you treat yourself to an 18-year-old whiskey, you're spending £150 now. You're treating
yourself
a lot of
money. It's a huge amount of money.
The idea that you can pour a large glass of this and enjoy it and actually not have to worry about getting next bottle in, because it isn't.
Yep.
In today's market, let's be honest, whiskey's so expensive now for quality whiskey.
And you think, in a full-size bottle you get 28 drams.
Yeah.
And this is
Friends over, whatever. It's just
pound a dram.
Yeah.
Is what you're paying for a bottle, and it's
pretty good, eh?
Pretty darn good.
What do you think of the palate? Again, it's the first time.
It's just a good whiskey.
Maybe in a couple of months that I've had it. The nose is a bit lighter than I remember, actually. But the palate's fruity. It's rounded. It's not too warm. Again, I really don't get any peat whatsoever, so it's very Speyside orientated.
I feel like it's no coincidence I went from Highland Park 12 as my kind of go-to whiskey to this, because they're both very well-rounded. Yeah. They've kind of got a bit of sherry, which is nice, maybe a slight hint of that sort of earthy peatiness perhaps coming through. And it's just, a well-integrated whiskey.
I can't recommend it enough for a blended whiskey that isn't a big name. And they're going to open up a second distillery, we think, maybe.
Yeah, they've got
which is quite interesting.
Planning permission, but surely demands there.
So I think I remember going up and speaking to Phil and Simon, and the distillery is a very small operation at Dornoch, and he said, well, this next distillery is going to be 10 times bigger than our current distillery.
Okay.
It was still going to be in the smallest 5 distilleries in Scotland.
Yeah.
So this is really, truly handcrafted.
Yeah.
The team that they have up there and the guys themselves work every day. So it's really interesting to see them it's good to see them get the reward.
Yeah.
And so well connected with the Dornoch Castle and Dornoch Whiskey Bar as well.
Yes.
Which is probably the best place to try their single cask, single malts.
Yeah.
Because that should be the only place where actually you can get all of them.
That's true. But it's just, in one word, how do you sum this up? Dependable?
Yeah, dependable's a good word. I would say bargain.
Yeah.
It is a bargain. Maybe that's the Ayrshire in me. Maybe I'm so cheap. I'm just like, but that is a bargain. And I will buy again, for sure.
Yeah, it's a super good dram, and it's, as you say, if they've bought a fair amount of it, then it's great. As long as the supply keeps coming through, we'll keep buying it.
Absolutely.
So beautiful
cheers.
dram.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, beautiful.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.